Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Geneforge 5. Well, I believe, we have just managed to get into the Zephyr Reaches, and, well, it's time to go into the Zephyr Oasis and see... Taygen, was it? I believe that was the name of the guy. We need to go see him and see what's going on out here. Something seems odd about this place. And very concerning, too. And here we are. You enter the Zephyr Oasis, the capital of the Zephyr Reaches. This squat settlement is built from rough sandstone blocks on the south shore of the mighty river that divides this province from the Storm Plains. Not surprisingly, this settlement is very old. It has served as a crossing point for caravan routes since well before the Shapers appeared. Now it is the seat of power from which sage Taygen rules his province. Although this is a Shaper city, something about it immediately strikes you as odd. Almost alien. You soon realize what it is. There are no creations in sight. No war creations to defend the cities. No serviles. There must be creations nearby, you can sense them, but they are kept hidden away. Probably chained up. That might explain why the guards are so nervous about you. They watch you carefully as you pass, trying to decide whether to detain you. They don't. For now. Unrestrained creations forbidden in Zephyr Reaches without Shaper permission. Creations must be stored in Eastern Camp. Bounty. A creation camp being constructed to the west, Camp West Alpha, was attacked by rogue wingbolts. Most humans and serviles constructing it were lost. A bounty will be paid to anyone who can slay 8 of them. Warning, wingbolts are high-quality creations and should be approached with great care. Collect bounty from Commander Pritz. Well, that's gonna be simple enough. Aside from the frustration that they're wingbolts. Commander Pritz. There is a commander of the Shaper army sitting at this desk, writing orders. Though he is an officer and an outsider, he wants to make sure all visitors know of the sincerity of his efforts in the war. That is why he keeps a ceramic jar full of creation skulls on the floor by his desk. He notices that you are looking at them.
Killed them all myself. Glachs, drakes, even a human. I'm Commander Pritz, leader of the human soldiers in the Oasis. Always happy to greet a visitor. Or hire one.
Can I speak with you?
No, I don't think so. Unsecured creations without license are illegal here. You should go to the palace and talk to the Shapers.
He points to the south.
If you have permission from them to be here like that, I can talk to you.
Alright, we'll do just that. You try to speak with one of the town guards, but you don't have any luck. The presence of creations not in chains makes them very nervous. They don't attempt to hinder you as you explore the town, but they are much more comfortable watching you from a distance. Alright then. Well, my creations are under my control. We have no problems. Council Hall. Well, I guess we should probably go in here first. Let's see. Palace Guards. Guardian Kalisch. There is a guardian working in this small shaping workshop. He is a grim and sullen man. Years of frowning have left several deep creases on the weathered skin of his face. He wears the traditional heavy plate armor of his sect, but it seems to have mainly served to protect him in the laboratory. It has been scorched by explosions and pitted by acid splatters.
Ah, the outsider, the unusual one. I am Guardian Kalisch, assistant to the Counselor, Taygen. What do you want here?
Can I speak with you?
No, the presence of unsecured creations without a license is a violation of our laws. I should discipline you. Instead, I will generously allow you to find Sage Hagen and apply for permission to remain here. I would advise you not to delay.
Right, we need to go see Sage Hagen. You enter Sage Hagen's throne room. It is quite different from the throne rooms of the other members of the council. There are no creations, no pieces of machinery. It looks much like it looked when it was first built centuries ago. There are 2 thrones set against the north wall. Also unusual. Members of the council rule alone. Sage Hagen sits in one of them. He is an aging man, perhaps in his 50s, with a long, scraggly beard. His hair is mostly gone to gray. When you enter his hall, he frowns disapprovingly.
We don't like to see uncontrolled creations of the Zephyr Reaches. A few chains would put us much more at ease, but I will allow you an audience with me.
Very well, Hagen, as you wish. Don't worry, my creations are fine. You will have no worries. You approach Sage Hagen, master of the Zephyr Reaches and full member of the Shaper Council. Unlike the other members of the council, he makes no effort to look impressive or imposing. He sits slouched in his throne. His beard is unkempt, and he barely seems to be paying attention to what is happening. Only the power you can sense radiating from him makes you believe he is actually what he claims.
You are in the throne room of Sage Councillor Taygen. That is me, and Consort Lena. I have heard of you. I knew you would arrive before long. Before I let you travel in my lands, you must understand the laws.
You have heard of me?
You bear Rawell's papers. You shape, but you are not a shaper. You travel freely in our lands. These things make you a great oddity. You have been discussed in depth. There are even arguments in higher shaper circles about whether you should be allowed to live at all. So far, you will be glad to know all of these conversations have ended in your favor.
Yes, I am glad to know that. I want to know more about the Dare Reaches.
Well, the first thing you need to know is that you must have my permission to be here, and that means you must know our laws. Creations are held under much firmer discipline here. I assume you did not know that, coming before me as you have.
My creations are under control. They don't run or attack others unless I command them. Well, occasionally they run if they get too wounded and decide to hide in fear, but still. Can you blame them? Tell me about your laws.
Yes, my laws. You may be pleased to know that the Dare Reaches is one of the few places of sanity in all Terrestia. Only here have we found the clarity needed to deal with the horrors of the rebellion. It is the increasing independence and intelligence of creations that has led to the difficult situation we find ourselves in. To be sane is to recognize your errors and try to correct them.
And how are you doing that?
The Shapers are too lax. Our creations need to be controlled more strongly. The rebels must not be negotiated with, they must be eradicated. Only then will we be able to rebuild our society properly. And the loyal creations must be kept under strict control, kept simple mentally and under lock and key at all times, in pens or in camps. That is our law. Of course, Shapers and people of import can be given temporary licenses to travel freely with creations.
Who can I get such a license from?
Me.
Can I have such a license?
You have creations with you. That makes me very skeptical. You do not seem to see the danger they present. However, I will not irritate Rawell by interfering with his agent.
He takes a piece of paper and scratches out a few words on it. Then he applies a wax seal. He hands the license to you.
As long as you are careful, that will enable you to travel the roads. I am sure when you see how well controlled our creations are, you will see the wisdom of our ways.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure about the amount of control. I mean, the amount of control exhibited over creations like, you know, clearly dangerous ones, like Fioras, or Glachs, or Kaishaks, that's understandable. Creations like Serviles, or Drakes, the very intelligent ones, that I don't know about. So we'll see.
Now that that is settled, what business did you have here?
Tell me about the Dare Reaches.
The Dare Reaches? The dry sandy wastes I was given to rule. It is what you see, a parched stretch of gravel dotted with mines and rogues and irritable nomads, still brown and arid despite many years of Shaper efforts.
His contempt for the province he supposedly cares for is palpable. Why were you sent here to rule?
Because it was impossible for the council to further ignore my skill and total loyalty. I required a post with authority, and when the former councillor here died, probably from ennui, this was the natural place to discard me.
The Shapers have been trying to make this place green?
Of course. We Shapers cannot see a bit of dead land without wanting to make it spring to life, but these wastes have defied all of our best efforts to bring them to life. This is a cursed land. Only my consort and my duty to aid our kind in bringing this war to a conclusion keeps me from throwing myself in the river.
Are there a lot of rogues in the waste?
The rebels had success early on infesting our lands, and the wastes have provided a natural hiding place for them. I do not have the forces to hunt them. Our resources have gone to support Arwen and Astoria. I am not envious. I have the ingenuity and determination of a true Shaper. I will find my own solution for the problem of the rebels.
Tell me about the nomads.
When the Shapers first arrived to civilize this region, there were isolated bands of nomads in the wastes. Most of them are gone now, replaced by foolhardy settlers and prospectors from the north. There are a few of them out there still, I think. I suppose I rule them, but I am happier if they keep to themselves.
Fair enough, I suppose. Sage Taygen continues to slouch in his empty throne. Sometimes he casts a brief look at the empty seat next to it, probably his consort's seat, and sighs sadly.
What else is it? I have important matters to contemplate and you disturb my privacy.
Who is consort Lena?
She is the sole consolation of living in this dire place, the one comfort of existence here.
His voice becomes softer and calmer when he speaks of her. He seems to be at the beginning of a long soliloquy about her charms. You think that you sense the throne room guards rolling their eyes. He stops himself short.
I know it is unusual, a council member having a consort, but I am entitled, I think, after all my years keeping this region functional.
I see. Wait, it's unusual for a council... So, do Shapers not have wives? Now that I think about it, I've never seen a Shaper or a Guardian or Agent mention ever having a wife or a husband. Do they not marry or something? Or do they marry, but it's just never been mentioned? Now that I think about it, what the hell would a Shaper wedding look like? Oh god. I am really interested in this now. If someone thinks of something like this, tell me, because I'm really interested. Where is she now?
In our home. We have taken great pains to create a decent place to live in this dusty provincial town. She only cares to sit in her throne for events of state. It makes her feel nervous, poor dear.
Why is it unusual to have a consort?
Shapers rarely marry outsiders. For a councillor to do so, it is unheard of. That is why she is my consort, not my lady. There are limits to how far I will stretch Shaper propriety.
Now that I think about it, actually, I do remember. There was one situation that I can remember where a Shaper and a Guardian were married, and that was back in Geneforge 3. The Guardian who was head of Donal's Isle, I forget his name, was married to the Shaper there. So, Shapers can marry inside their sect, they just almost never marry outside. I'm guessing for the sake of keeping their information private and making sure outsiders don't get their information and it doesn't go wild and uncontrolled and that kind of stuff. Which makes them better than Jedi in a way. Does Consort Lena like this place?
Nobody likes this place.
Right. I'd like to know more about your laws.
They are simple. Without a license, such as you have, all creations, when not being directly observed by a Shaper or soldier, must be chained or penned. All war creations must be absorbed and remade at least once a year to eliminate rogue tendencies. Licenses for certain creations, such as a handful of cleaning and cooking serviles, can be given, but it is rare. That is how I have eliminated my lands as the source of rebels. However, we still have the problem of the rebellion, and I have ideas for how it might be solved.
Tell me about the camps.
One is near us, just to the east. That is for serviles and other servants we frequently use. Others, for more dangerous creation types, are farther away. Do not be concerned, creations there are fed and treated well, as long, of course, as they show no signs of independence or excess intelligence.
What happens to independent or intelligent creations?
Depending on their complexity, they are either disciplined or absorbed and remade.
I see. There's more I want to know. Creations are absorbed and remade.
Yes, it is difficult and time-consuming, but a fresh mind is never rogue. Do not be sentimental. When I destroy and recreate a creation, I do not think of it as killing it. Instead, I am healing it of wounds and confusion.
Right, sorry about that. I didn't realize there was an error in the recording window. This should be fixed. Okay, back to this. What do other Shapers think of your new laws? He waves a hand in contempt.
Even now, as Terrestia burns around us and unbound wander our lands, my fellow Shapers are sentimental. They see our creations as our children, children who would murder us in our beds. No, they will come around once I find a way to end the war once and for all.
You have an idea how to end the war.
Oh yes. Yes, I do. More than an idea, a project, the greatest, most cunning act of shaping ever known, a way to end the rebellion in weeks, in days. I work alone and with few resources. I have struggled so hard to find allies, tools, and yet I have the determination and cunning of a shaper. I will prevail.
He drifts off in thought, thinking about his project. What exactly are you planning?
Ah, the details are for now a secret. Much is still being decided.
Ah. I'd like to know something else. No, that's all I need to know.
Well, you have my leave to depart, and remember the laws of the Shapers will be restored.
I gained Taygen's license. Yay. And, yeah. We could, but I think we'll wait for a while before we decide to join him. Now we can speak with Guardian Kalisch. Guardian Kalisch stands like a steel statue and looks down at you. He is a very tall man. Massive, a natural guardian, and like many of his sect, the unusual and the eccentric are distasteful for him. And he sees you definitely as both unusual and eccentric. You are Sage Taygen's assistant.
I am not used to being interrogated by an outsider, especially one as compromised as you are. However, Taygen has commanded me to be civil to you. I must obey. That is how I am recorded in the ledgers of the Shapers, the immediate inferior of Taygen, yes. I am charged with the creation, recreation, and maintenance of the creations that defend this place. An honorable task for a guardian, though Taygen's laws make it more difficult.
An honorable task.
The Guardians lead in the war. When the Shapers must do something that requires an army, the Guardian leads the charge. Thus my kind specializes in creating and directing military forces, in assault or in defense.
How is Taygen made more difficult?
All defenses and creations must be absorbed and recreated every year. Destroying so many functional defenders is very distasteful for me. Wasteful. Though I must admit, it has greatly reduced our rogue problems.
Well, everything comes with a cost. Tell me about the counselor.
He has worked for the Shapers for many years. He has done research of, I understand, skill. He is loyal. In time, he was rewarded with this post. He came here with his consort, and then the war began.
What is your opinion of his consort?
Lena? I have no opinion. No opinion at all about the outsider that a Shaper has chosen to interact with. If Taygen chooses to take an outsider into his confidence, why would I question it? An outsider.
How is the war gone? Guardian Kalisch looks grim. Well, even grimmer.
I suspect that Sage Taygen is an excellent researcher in the laboratory. I assume that telling you these sorts of things is what he meant when he told me to be social. At least I have had much practice in making new creations to replace the lost.
You don't seem to have a high opinion of Sage Taygen.
He is a member of the Council. I would not dare oppose him.
But you would not make a great effort to defend him if it came to that.
We tread in a dangerous area. I would not speak of it.
Can I receive training? Guardian Kalisch would laugh if he was capable.
What? Share power with you? You are a creature, an outsider, and a twisted one at that. You will have none of our secrets.
This response is irritating, but you know that you can keep your rage under control. Oddly, the anger does not come when you are facing someone else who can shape. So much for getting training. Sucks. There's creations here. There are several creations in these dank pens. They are powerful creatures, kept here to defend this palace in the case of attack. They have been harshly trained. They bear the marks of shackles and multiple beatings. This Artilla stands perfectly still in the corner. The chains on the floor aren't in use. They aren't needed. The creature has been completely bullied into submission. When you approach it, you look in its eyes. You see their terror, but something more. Great instability. Months of mistreatment have taken their toll on its sanity. It constantly makes nervous little clicking and squeaking noises. Try to control the creature. You close your eyes, extend your will, and try to touch the creature's mind. The reaction is immediate. The creature shudders and recoils. Try again. Although it was created by a full member of the Shaper Council, the mistreatment and neglect it has suffered has weakened his control. You might be able to influence his behavior. Make it fight on my side if needed. You surround the creature with feelings of warmth and encouragement. Then you work to weaken the ties between it and its true master. It is an amazing stretch of your command abilities, but you succeed. Mostly. Sage Taygen still commands this creature. However, if he ever tries to get it to attack you, he is in for an ugly surprise. This is the best you can do here. You walk away. It looks like it's the same here. Although, I have a feeling we probably shouldn't. I mean, only if we're going to attack Sage Hagen, I imagine. Because, well, yeah. That's probably the purpose of it. We're not going to take anything from there. More guards. More things. 2 living tools. I think we can stay out of there for now. And we need to go up and talk to that guy up there again. Again, I apologize for the error in the recording. I didn't realize it was goofed up till just now.